Hello and good afternoon. Joe Justice here, coming to you live from Charleston on July 31st, 2023. Can you believe that we are already almost into August? The dog days of the dog days of summer are well upon us. And here we are going into, fall's just around the corner, if you can believe it. I've been thinking, and I want to get your feedback. So if you're watching this, I definitely want you to drop me a comment, send me a message, let me know your thoughts. Should I change up my music and make it a little bit more high energy? When I originally picked out this music, the kind of easy-going kind of guitar thumping music, I was kind of thinking about something kind of mellow, something kind of relaxing, to kind of talk about. But then I've been thinking, I am supposed to be the Kanawha Valley hustler, and the guests on my podcast here are Kanawha Valley hustlers. So maybe we need more like hustling music, something more high tempo, something more fast paced, something more energetic. Let me know. Send me a comment. Drop me a message, email me, joe@joejustice.org. Let me know what you think. Should we be more high energy, more fast-paced, more powerful, something like that? I want to hear from you. So today I wanted to come and talk to you a little bit about perspective. Perspective in the sales and marketing process is something that people really, really, really have a hard time with. I have talked to a ton of people over the years. I've worked with clients, I've worked with prospects, I've worked with people that have such a difficult time understanding perspective and what that means in sales and marketing. So to kind of understand where I'm coming from here, I'm going to tell you a story about a guy that I worked with years ago. And we were starting this campaign. We were going to do kind of a lunch and learn type of an event. And at this point in time, we didn't have anything for his business for prospects. We didn't have anything. He didn't have an email list. He didn't have, prospect list exactly. He didn't have, any kind of email automation, not much of a social media presence, nothing. So I thought, okay, so here's what we're going to do. I told him I was going to go through his database and we were going to find all the contacts of past business that he had before. So I go through there. And it wasn't a lot. It was probably around 200 names, 200 contacts or so with names and phone numbers and email addresses. So our event, our lunch and learn that was coming up was going to be in about a month. So I told him, I said, okay, so here's what you need to do. Take this list and call everybody on this list and see if they want to come to the lunch and learn. That's our best bet. These are past clients. These are people that have paid before. That's a pretty good target market. Let's go for it. And he says, okay, let's do it. So 2 weeks later, I thought I was pretty much done with that because I figured he was going to follow up and do all that. So 2 weeks later, we hadn't gotten any signups. We hadn't gotten any inquiries. We hadn't gotten anything. And it was just crickets. So I called him up and I talked to him. I said, hey, what's going on with that list? What kind of objections are you getting? What are people saying? Where's the pushback? What's going on? And he says to me, oh, you know what? I called the first three and they all said no. So I figured the list was no good. Now, if you are in a sales, marketing, entrepreneurial, any kind of a business-related mode, and that story makes sense to you, I've got to explain perspective. If you get a list of 200 or 300 people, you're not going to stop at the first three, okay? You need to call everybody on that list. This is the part that people have a really, really hard time with. And I've talked about this in the past. Everybody kind of wants, I call it, the term that I use for this is the magic ad syndrome. Everybody wants this magic ad. They want this magic script that they're going to call, and everybody that picks up the phone is just going to start reaching for their wallet as soon as they hear the pitch. They're going, oh, wow, that sounds amazing. Shut up and take my money. That kind of stuff. But that doesn't exist in the real world. The magic ad syndrome is just going to get you no business, okay? And you need to understand that from a perspective standpoint. You need to accept some hard facts about what it's really going to take. Now, let's step back for just a minute. What's some reasons why somebody wouldn't take, let's say, this lunch and learn opportunity? What's some reason people would say no to it? It could be because they've already got plans on that day. It could be because their kids have a game that day. They've got something going on at their school. It could be that they're not interested in the product. Or if they're not interested in the product, why might that be? That it might be that they've already got they just signed up with somebody that's already doing that and they don't want to change things over. It could be that they've, the person that does that for them already is their high school buddy and they're not going to change. So there's all of these reasons that are totally 100% outside of your control. It doesn't matter how good your pitch is. It doesn't matter how good your offer is. It doesn't matter what you're bringing to the table. They're going to say no. But here's the thing. That's okay. That's why you need to have perspective and make up for those lack of numbers, those lack of yeses with more numbers, okay? So every time you get a no, that's just indication. That's all that is information. And that's information that you need to move on to the next person. Now, to take a step back from that from just a little bit and to explain, perspective in a really kind of a hard way, is for the most part, when it comes to any kind of a pitch that you're doing, if you're making a pitch to somebody, you should expect around 3 to 5% conversion rate. And that's no matter what it is. If you're trying to get them to sign up for your product, if you're trying to get them to come to a lunch and learn, if you're trying to get them to give you some contact information, whatever it is, you should expect around 3 and a 5% conversion rate. If you do better than that, that's excellent. If you do worse than that, then you need to reassess both your target audience and your offer. If you've got a product that you're trying to sell and you're pitching it, you pitch it to 3 people and they all say no, that's not enough data to understand how well your product's going to do in the market, okay? You need to reach out to hundreds of people, sometimes even thousands of people. It's very, very rare that you get that magic pitch, that magic offer, that magic ad that, half the people you reach out to say yes. It's unbelievably rare, but everybody expects it. And it's one thing that I don't really understand. It's one thing that's always kind of blown my mind when I've worked with people on marketing campaigns and marketing solutions. You have to have the perspective that you're going to get 100 no's before you get 1 yes. And that's a pretty realistic scenario. Maybe you'll get 3 yeses. Again, if you make your pitch, if you make 100 phone calls and all of them say no, then maybe you need to reassess your offer. Maybe your offer, you're not hitting it towards the right audience. And the other thing to keep in mind is your audience hearing you? So if you make 100 phone calls, but you don't actually talk to anybody, then you're not really making those phone calls. That's another thing that people have a really hard time with. If you send out 1,000 emails, but nobody opens those emails, then you didn't really send out 1,000 emails. If you send out 500 letters in the mail, postcards, some kind of direct mail type thing, and everyone just throws those away, then you didn't really send them out. Nobody really saw them. So you need to find ways of tracking, are these actually getting through? Are people actually engaging with them? Are you if you're sending out text messages as part of your advertising, text messages are going out, sending your pitch, then you can measure those. If they get delivered, if people respond to them. If you're leaving voicemails and you're getting no responses, it could very well be that nobody's listening to those. But as you move forward and as people begin to respond and as you're delivering your pitch to people and you're getting, you're delivering the pitch to 2 to 3 people and you're not getting responses, then you need to deliver the pitch more frequently to more people, okay? And you need to figure out a way to do that. That's where the challenge comes in. But so often people get kind of fixated on this one type of, they either literally get fixated on one person, it might be, the head of some big business that they need to get to, and they get so fixated on this one person at the top. And what you really need to do is get in and get into the side door and start working your way up, but you need to do that to a bunch of different locations all the time. So keep that in mind. I hope that you found this helpful today. If you did, be sure to drop me a comment and let me know. You need to have perspective, and you need to do a lot. There's a reason why everyone is always talking about 10xing everything. There's a reason for that. It's because you have to do a lot to get a little bit. Just keep it all in perspective. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you more later this week. Bye-bye for now.